Welcome to another video of What in the Lore, and in today's video we are going over the Beast Tribes of Erosia. And as a small disclaimer going into this, guys, most of these tribes are fleshed out. There will be more information about them come the release of A Realm Reborn, so I will probably be touching back on this topic and tribes once that happens. So expect to see another one of these videos come out sometime in September, once the game has been out for like a good solid month. Alright, but let's get started. Let's take a look at the Goblin Tribes first off. Strange gas masks and large backpacks are the trademarks of this tiny beastman race, the Goblins. Many are gatherers, or disciples of the land, or crafters, disciples of the hand, and they help support the economy of Erosia from outside any of, the city walls. However, within the past few years, it seems that the entire race of goblins has embarked on a pilgrimage undertaken by their people once every 100 years. An expert from Viviki in Ul'dah, the goblins are short little monstrosities, though amicable enough. Time was they could often be seen throughout the streets of Ul'dah peddling wares. You will certainly know one if you come across them. They never take off their distinctive masks and always bear seemingly unbearable packs on their back. But I fear you won't come across them. None have, in fact, for quite some years now. Some say they only make one great pilgrimage every 100 years to the cities of the man. But who is to say? Perhaps the recent rise in adventurers, such as yourself, among us will bring them back once again. Some important figures to note from the Goblin Tribes is Mutamix. It was a goblin that introduced the other races to the art of creating and melding materia. Up next we have the Cocoon Tribes. Now, to note, I could not find any solid description of these other than what Viviki in Ul'dah states. And she states the following. The Cocoon look, for all intents and purposes, like rats. They are known to have tremendous appetites, which they will state by feeding on nigh anything, from rotten meat to hot trash. More than once I've taken one to the Fontisserie, only to have it steal away to the storerooms and gorge itself on the medicines until its stomach burst or its heart stopped or some such ridiculousness. All the same, they are exceedingly clever things. They know their numbers as well as any scholar and have a gift for merchant trade as well. The Fontisserie even employs some to keep their books. In fact, there's a funny story about that. For no more than an dodo egg, the gluttonous things will even let me stick a... Oh, never mind that last part. Some important figures to note in the Cocoon Tribes are Kocoron Quickfingers. A multi-talented Kocoron thief, it is said that Kocoron Quickfingers is so nimble that he can empty a man's purse and have the pouch back on his belt quicker than the blink of an eye. Originally from Lan Lascoa, Kocoron earned fame in the Sailor's Ward of Limsa Lominsa, where he would use his deft little digits to strum jolly tunes on his lute, luring audiences into absent-minded rivalry. Then, during intermissions, he would mingle with crowds, laughing and sharing tales, all the while snatching coins from the pockets of his unsuspecting victims. Leading us to say, it was not long before Kocoron had a bounty placed on his head by the Knights of the Barracuda, and was forced to flee across the Strait of Multhor to the parched deserts of Thanalan, where it is said he still wanders today, lute in hand, ever in search of his next victim. Up next we have the Sahagun Tribes. This aquatic race of beastmen reside in a city built at the bottom of the Indigo Deep. Known for attacking ocean-faring ships and dragging sailors screaming into the murky depths, the Sahagun are often the subject of angry and fearful curses on the streets of Limsa Lominsa. Despite this, the Sahagun have a following known as Serpent Reavers, a group of pirates with connections to the Sahagun and composed of the 5 races who operate within La Noskia. It is unclear, however, how they became allied, though it is said that they are turncoats, forsaking Limsa Lominsa to work for the Sahagun. They are given a wristlet upon induction, marking them as a member of the clan. Since the advent of the 7th Umbral Era, these hostile denizens of the sea have taken to seizing territory along the Valbrand coastline in order to establish new spawning grounds. The Sahagun worship Leviathan. Next we have the Kobold Tribes, those lovable little guys. The Kobolds are a race of mole-like creatures who have excavated a warren of tunnels beneath Ogahamaro, a mighty peak rising out of the northern Valbrand. Believing the ores of the earth to be a gift of the primal titan, these subterranean beastmen seek to divine their deity's teachings through the art of alchemy and metallurgy. Despite forging a peace agreement with Limsa Lominsa, recent conflicts over mineral deposits have led to a resurgence of hostilities. The Kobolds worship Titan. A little more information that can be gained about the Kobold Tribes is taken away from this expert from Merowinna and Limsa Lominsa. The Kobolds are stout, mole-like creatures who live inside the fiery mountains of Orgrimmar situated at the northern Valbrand. Because of the way they are built, it can appear they run on 4 legs, which leads people to believe they are closer to animals than they are to the 5 races. However, this could not be farther from the truth, as the Kobolds are devoid of the most any barbaric traits. They are, for one, known to be extremely pious, and consider ores and metals to be the carnal manifestations of their patron deity, Titan. They also possess advanced knowledge of smelting and armoring, utilizing techniques to rival even the renowned smiths of Nalduk and Valminios. Up next, we have the Amala Tribes. The hulking Amala are a race of nomadic beastmen who inhabit the grasslands of Pagothan, where they subsist by hunting the native wildlife. These worshippers of the primal Ifrit believe that the region of Thanalan has been purified by a sacred flame. In their efforts to reclaim this holy land, Amala warriors have clashed time and time again with the forces of the Sultanate of Ul'dah. Another excerpt from Vivikian Ul'dah. The Amala are a lizard-like race of nomadic beastmen who inhabit the environments of the Pagothan to the north and east of Ul'dah, where they subsist by hunting the region's wildlife. They are comparable in size to even the largest of Rogadin and possess near inexhaustible stamina. They could be an immensely valuable ally if only they could be trusted, but there is certainly no hope of that in the near future. Since no more than a year past, there has been widespread talk of the Amala amassing their forces for an assault on Ul'dah. My research to develop a drug to counter their... oh dear, best forget I said that. Next there is the Sylph Tribes. A diminutive people who dwell deep within the Black Shroud, Sylphs resemble delicate dolls wrapped in vibrant leaves. By and large, these woodland folk hold favorable relations with other races, and have become an almost common sight since a trade in crystals was established. The Garland invasion of the Black Shroud, however, has quickly soured the Sylphs' view of outsiders. The Sylphs worship Ramu. This next excerpt comes from Properlin in Gridania. The Sylphs are a wee folk of the Twelveswood, or Black Shroud as the outsiders call it, who speak the language of the trees. They may appear adorable at first glance, but when their fury is on them, they lust for blood as deeply as any of the other beast tribes. The reverent gatherers and hunters, and even wayward travelers stumbling through the trees, are oft taken by the green folk and never heard from again. Yet we have come to learn that they mean only to protect the wood as we do, in their own way. They are not considered to be absolute enemies as other beast tribes are. Indeed, Gridania even maintains some dealings and exchanges with the Sylphs, though their lack of societal structure lessens any impact that might be had. Next we have the Ixal Tribes. These aggressive mountain tribe claims the wind-blasted canyons of Exfotol as their dominion. Though their race has long since lost ability for flight, the feathered beastmen are fervently proud of their vestigial wings. The Ixal stage frequent raids into the Black Shroud, and fell trees to offer in worship to their patron deity, the primal Garuda. Such behavior, however, leads to violent confrontations with the people of Gridania. Another excerpt from Prosperlin in Gridania. The Ixal are the sworn enemies of Gridania, craven birdmen who live in the recluse canyons and valleys of the eastern reaches of Albida's Spine. They oft breach the hedge and trespass into the Twelveswood, foraging for plants or hunting small game. Theirs and ours is a timeless war. The scholars tell us that the stunted wings and coarse feathers of the Ixal are vestige of a time when they could fly freely through the skies. But they were not content with their gift and sought ever greater power to oppose the very winds that bore them. They learned to build ships full of air that allows them to move in great numbers, appearing suddenly from above to attack the unwary. For the nonce, it is all we of the gods' quiver can do to oppose them. And up next, saving the best for pretty much last, are the Mughal Tribes. The Mughals are a race of furry creatures with bat wings and a pom-pom between their ears. Said to worship a legendary king of ages long past, Mughals are the friendlies of the spoken, even more so than goblins and sylphs. Mughals have two-part names that both start with the same letter. This letter is K for male Mughals and P for female Mughals. The last name of male Mughals seem to be often one syllable, while all first names are two syllables for both genders. No name exceeds 2 syllables. Examples of male names are Koopity Koop, Kooply Kip, for females is Pukla Puki or Puxi Pico. Some Mughals have names that deviate from the pattern, such as Mughal Mog 7. Long reluctant to meddle in the affairs of men, it may be the suffering wrought by the 7th umbral era that proves to be the catalyst which beckons the lovable creatures forth from their trees, so that they may share their wisdom with the realm's people. Important figures to note from the Mughal Tribes is Good King Mughal Mog 7. Of the innumerable tales passed down through their race, there is one which claims prominence above all others, the legend of Good King Mughal Mog 7, which explains the origins of Mughal kind. The legend holds that in a time long forgotten, the Mughals dwelled in the heavens alongside the 12. However, a great war broke out among the gods, and the celestial realm was laid to waste. Upon seeing this, the reigning Mughal monarch, Good King Mughal Mog 7, lowered his subjects down a rope, the longest ever woven, to the realm of mortals, that Mughal kind might again know peace, or so the tale goes. In contrast, our own histories mention naught of any such conflict among the 12, and scholars were unanimous in branding the tale to a product of the imagination. Of late, however, events have transpired that serve to cast doubt on that conclusion. Recent moons have seen first-person accounts of encounters with Good King Mughal Mog VII being reported nigh without cease, and even the most orthodox of thinkers have been forced to reconsider their opinions on the matter. By now, all Gradanians and most adventurers will doubtlessly be familiar with Luiso, head of the Circle of Knowing, who has journeyed to our nation for no other purpose than to quell the mounting primal threat. The native of Charlan has identified the Mughal monarch as a primal, whose voracious appetite for etheric energy could end life as we know it upon Erosia. Coming from such an authoritative figure as himself, these tidings are grim indeed. A quote from an unknown source regarding Mughals. Good King Mughal Mog, to save his people, he lowered them to the promised land, but unable to lower himself in the heavens he remained. All Mughals await his glorious return. And the last tribe of note is the Dragon Tribes, but there is not enough information to successfully flesh this part out. Thank you guys for watching another video of What in the Lore. As stated before in my disclaimer at the beginning of this video, I will most likely be coming back to this and fleshing out each individual tribe as the game launches. This is just kind of like a quick overview of all of the beast kin in the world of Erosia, and I also plan on working on a primal video next, talking about the information that we know so far and the lore that is behind them. Again, this video and the next video are subject to change, and I will be coming back to these after the release once a lot of the lore has already been set in stone inside the game itself. But again, thank you guys for watching. If you have any comments, suggestions, you have an idea for what you would like to see in an upcoming video, by all means, post in the comments below. Be sure to like, subscribe, share it with your friends, Twitter, Facebook. Doesn't really matter. As long as you guys find these videos informative, that means I'm doing my job. So until next time, may the blessing of the 12 be upon you.